Hello everyone and welcome to Season 2 of VinTalks podcast. Continuing with the theme Concept to Products, we have with us today two energetic youngsters, Mr. Kiran and Dr. Abhishek, who are going to talk to us about the entire process of how a product enters the market. Before we dive deep into a conversation with them, let's have a brief intro. Kiran is the founder of Printalytix Private Limited, a company that bridges the gap between designing, prototyping, and manufacturing. With a strong background in engineering and a passion for innovation, Kiran has built a successful career spanning various reputable organizations, including Deshpande Startups, Mu Sigma Inc., Bosch India, and Saint Gobain Abrasives. He holds a master's degree in PGP-BA from the Indo-German Training Center, a bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering from Dr. Ambedkar Institute of Technology, and has secured 4th rank in the All India NCAT. Kiran is a skilled professional with expertise in brand development, brand management, and marketing strategies, and has published several notable works in the field of engineering and management. New Business Conversion Recognition Award and the Best Achiever Award stand as a testament to his achievements. Dr. Abhishek Shastry is the co-founder of Printalytix Private Limited, where he oversees projects and operations. With a strong background in physics and material sciences, his expertise lies in research and development, particularly in 3D printing, manufacturing technology, and material science. He has a PhD in physics from Ghent University, Belgium, and a master's degree in applied mechanics from École Centrale de Nantes, France. Dr. Shastry's top skills include X-ray tomography, material sciences, and mechanical engineering, with certificates in hydraulics and pneumatics, modeling and analysis using CATIA AutoCAD. Throughout his career, Dr. Shastry has worked with various organizations, including Marie Curie Action Innovative Training and Procter & Gamble Newcastle, AkzoNobel, École Centrale Nantes, Selco Foundation, HAL, and KSRTC, as well as demonstrated his knowledge and expertise by publishing papers in numerous journals. With their diverse experience, knowledge, and skills, both Mr. Kiran and Dr. Abhishek have been instrumental in the growth and success of Printalytix and are valuable assets in the business world by their ability to apply research to practical applications. Welcome to VinTalks. Thank you so much for coming down and talking to us all the way from Bangalore. And I think it's going to be such an interesting conversation with the two of you all. Such youngsters into a very, very interesting field, quite new, and what you all are trying to do is quite commendable in terms of what the current system when it comes to integrating a lot of us together. But also, as we were having a conversation on how there has to be someone who takes up a sense of accountability of whatever is happening in the system. And I just want to understand from either Kiran, you, or Abhishek on how the entire thought process of starting Printalytix came together.
Thank you for inviting to VinTalks. Printalytix, we started in 2018.
Okay.
Abhishek is my co-founder.
Mm-hmm.
So both of us had a interesting idea to begin something in additive manufacturing.
Okay.
And it's most commonly known as 3D printing.
Okay.
So we derived the word print from 3D printing.
Okay.
And we foresaw the opportunity of digitization, happening in different sectors. And since we were getting started into manufacturing, so we thought analytics or digitization should also be a part of our journey as we begin. So hence we combined the word print and analytics. So and we made the name Printalytix. We were lucky enough to get the name. So that's how we got started with the idea. Printalytix, we initially began with 3D printing as the main primary services, and slowly eventually added lot many more services, encompassing, today we do design, we provide complete full rapid prototyping, and also support for customized manufacturing with a lot of different kinds of technologies.
Oh wow, that's so interesting to have a look at. For us coming from a manufacturing background, you become very important for our ecosystem per se, where you're not only just acting as a sense of integrator, but are also helping us out with a precursor to our processes, also integrating us in the process that you're doing, and also a postcursor to like whatever we're doing in per se in a system. I know that each one of you come with a wonderful background in terms of your career and what you've done, but what is the roles that each of you play in the system, and how important is it for that role to be played? Abhishek?
Yeah. So, like as Kiran rightly said, we started out in 2018. We were actually engineering batchmates. So we did our engineering together. Currently, like my roles, if you have to define, it would be basically of handling operations, project management, vendor management. So I basically do the dirty work where my hands get dirty, and I have to constantly interact with the vendors and get the orders executed. While Kiran basically works with the customer front facing, and also the business development.
Okay, so he gets bashed up in a different way, and you get bashed up in a different way.
Yeah. So that is how we have put our roles in the
company. Amazing. If like to understand for a layman, like I understand it in a certain sense that what you all do, but for our viewers, if they have to understand what is it that Printalytix basically does in like per se a layman's term, how would you explain that?
So let's imagine in terms of manufacturing that on an average any normal household has a little over 200 different variety of products. This is as per Indian statistics. Probably there is a lot more up the ladder, and probably outside of India it's even larger. So in a sense that all of these different variety of products, we are users of the same. How is it made, right? Is something that which for a layman it's very difficult to think, right? So for someone like that, we help them understand, saying that say suppose they're using their utensils every day, right? They're using their appliances, and they're using electronic gadgets, they're using mobile phones, right? So we try to relate them to help understand that how or where these products gets started, right? So eventually every product which starts with an idea, right? So becomes a design, so as to be able to understand different features, etc. Form factors, shape, size, color, aesthetics. So all of these things gets naturally sort of designed in a computer, right? So that's like one very key critical activity, even which which Printalytix also provides. So once a product is sort of designed, right? For a layman it could just be a mobile case cover, right? So how is it gets manufactured, before which it has to be designed. Right? So that's like the layman has to understand that. So once the design is sort of done in a computer, we go about trying to get fit form validation functionally to see that if the fitment is correct and so on and so forth. This is still not the final product, right? So this stage we call it as prototyping, right? So where it is still not the final product, but are you trying to ascertain that what we have designed, is it usable?
Okay.
Right? So, and with that validation of testing, then comes, the standardization aspect that, okay, can we make it in rubber material, plastic material, different types of materials, which is around. Can we do it in different colors, right? Can we print some fancy graphics on top of it, like in the mobile case cover, etc. So like that, there are various different aspects which gets standardized, and there are, manufacturing technologies. So manufacturing technology is such a huge ocean out there. So for a layman, we could just simply tell them that, there are certain things like, many of the plastic wares which they use are all mostly commonly manufactured in a process called as injection molding.
Okay.
So that's a process which also is utilized in the mobile case cover. So it's just the products are different, but the technology is still the same. So in that sense, using one of those processes and technologies, the final product gets made, and henceforth, the availability of the product is made in the market, and then you end up buying and then becoming a user. So this is how a journey happens, and in this leg of design, prototyping and manufacturing. So Printalytix is a one-stop shop providing all the three services.
Okay. Well, that's quite interesting. So basically, you are an integrator, and you also are taking accountability for the work that you're providing in terms of the integration. When you're looking at all these three complex processes that happen, how important is it that each player, say a designer, a manufacturer, and say a final integrator, or say even a prototype that is made in the entire process, how important is it that there is some kind of a synergy between all the three aspects?
Right. So when we take into the current scenario, there are like a lot of gaps between these three segments. Basically. So the person who is designing may not be available for the manufacturing inputs that he's supposed to provide. So they get the design done from one firm. They want the manufacturing to be done at the other firm. So there is definitely a gap between the two, and not all designs can be manufactured. Right. So you will have to have a definitive inputs from the designer as to what his thinking was when he was designing, based on which we can suggest a manufacturing process. So many a times when customers do come to us with a ready design, we normally go through a process of DFAM, which is design for manufacturing. So we normally do that before we start with any manufacturing process. Because like many of the manufacturers around, they also have that notion that they just have to manufacture the part according to the design. They don't look for the application where it is being used. Right? So if we do the DFAM, that is design for manufacturing, we'll be able to also get the input as to where it will be assembled, based on which what is the tolerances that is required for the other mating part to fix to this one. Thereby the whole cycle time will be reduced. So whether be it a ready design that is brought to us, or we only do the design, we follow this process of the design for manufacturing, and based on which we will suggest a right manufacturing technology for them, and we'll help them manufacture things. Right. But as Kiran was saying that like we'll do the prototyping stage, right? That is basically to help them get the finished product and have a look and feel of the product. Which will help them know the form factor and the aesthetics and look of the product. For which we will help them do the prototyping first, and then of course we'll also help them do the final production product.
I'm sure in your career so far, and since you've started this entire enterprise of yours, you have had a situation where there has been a challenge in the entire process. Can any one of you just take us through one of these very challenging situations that you've been? What is it that you did? And this would be a good learning for each one of us in our own domains.
Sure. I'll probably give one example. Abhishek can probably add a lot
would be
more.
Good. Yes.
So since as he said, he handles execution. So there are challenges, which keep coming up. Right? So manufacturing is a very complex activity, as you rightly said earlier. So what gets designed either say from the customer or we help them design their product, right? Example, we may take medical devices or we may take drones, etc. Right? So in all of these forward industries, right, which are new age product categories, technologies, products yet to be proven, right? So in this kind of situations, these products, what gets designed, gets translated into manufacturing, you need a lot of different levels of standardization.
Okay.
So the ecosystem today is still not that very mature, whether it is in terms of the engineers, the supply chain, and the standardization aspect which is necessary, to be able to make prove the technology or prove the product, right? So because of the developing ecosystem, education and awareness, whether it is with people in customer or sometimes in the supply chain, plenty of vendors who we engage with. So there is a little bit of education gap, or awareness gap. So now we try to tell them that this is as best as possible, something that which can be achieved within a limited constraint of a better material available, or the process limitation which is there, and so on and so forth. So we face such challenges almost routinely in all forward industries, because things are still falling in place, right? So probably say a 2 years, 3 years timeline say from now, as some of the product categories here becomes more matured, right? So lot many more standardization will start falling in place, and it's going to become more easier say for being able to support them. So when the challenges comes in, one critical thing which gets hit on both sides is the companies, the startups, some of our customers, they would have planned a certain timeline, saying that we want to achieve something in 6 months. Now that becomes an year or probably above that, right? So you not being able to reach your milestones within a set timeline becomes a large constraint. And you end up incurring costs, etc., unless if it is not very well thoroughly planned. So that's like a challenge which we face when engaging with forward thinking companies.
So basically it's like I'm stuck with the thought process that my design is going to get executed probably per se, it's flawless and it's going to be done in a year, but only when it comes to say probably you all, it goes through an entire process of it can be manufactured or upscaled to a level where it can be put out into the market, and I get a reality check that it's not a year, but there are a lot of issues, or probably there are minor issues which have to be sorted and which could have been taken care of previously and thought through. And that's where you're trying to bridge that gap and prevent that over ambitiousness of me as a designer.
That is right. And also when they are developing a product, the focus would be to make it work, right? They would not think of getting it into market straight away, or what would be the feedback from the customers, their end customers. So for functionality wise, they would always think of getting the electronics right, getting the form factor right, but the proposed form factor may not be right when it is set as a product to the market. So it is always better we help them do some market research or take some benchmark products in the same segment, so that we should not be out of the group where the product that we are developing is nowhere relevant to the market, right? And also competitive, it has to be very competitive, right? Whether be it in price or quality or whatever it is. If it is not competitive, then whatever the product you may have developed, but people will not show interest to buy that.
Yes.
Yeah. So at that point in time, they get hit where, of course, our job would have been done where we complete the product. But it is not right for us to just leave at that stage.
Yes.
So if we help them also do some market research or set benchmarks for the similar products, it will help them get scalability and push the product to the market.
You spoke about 3D printing and that being the major backbone of whatever you're doing at the moment. It's a word, it's something that we've all heard about for so long. And I think there's a lot of advancement for what I know is quite minimal in terms of what 3D printing is. And I'm sure it's reached a level of advancement where there is progress that has happened.
Yep.
Can you just take us through what 3D printing per se is at the moment out there in the industry? And do you think there would be like a climb in this entire process of 3D printing?
Absolutely. To answer your later question, 3D printing is changing the way how products are thought today, manufactured also.
Okay.
Coming to where and how say 3D printing is, 3D printing as more and more people are getting to know it, right? There is, and the technology is almost like 40 years old, right? So the awareness is growing rapidly across the globe, is because more and more adoption has taken place at least in the last 5 to 8 years.
Okay.
So and where is this adoption coming from? Is from the world of where people wouldn't want to limit themselves to designing something, but they would like to see the products what they designed.
Okay.
Right. So they want to experience the product if it has been designed right, if it has been designed well, if it is going to help in in whatever application the product has been made for, right? So with this basis, 3D printing started growing more and more in areas of polymer technologies, metal 3D printing technologies, composites, and also now has got its presence in biology. So 3D printing has started to slowly revolutionize where somebody needing transplants of various different kinds of organs right, is a big challenge across the globe.
Yeah.
Now can 3D printing utilizing cells of the same person be able to support them in some form of organ transplant, right? So this is something that which is also an emerging field. So it's still at a very early stage as we speak, but countries, developed countries and economies, are making faster progress in these directions. If you understand the basis of 3D printing, it's fundamentally changing things because it needs very limited resources initially to make the final product, right? So compared to any traditional manufacturing sector, there is a lot of material wastage which occurs. So 3D printing brings in more and more sustainable way and manners in which you can make different variety of products. So it has got its application in aerospace, applications in defense, namely the turbine, right, of a aircraft, right, an engine, probably has thousands of parts, right? So through 3D printing, multiple different design optimizations, people have, companies like GE and others who have who are the leaders in this segment, right, have started to make even functional products which are directly used in engines, right, and aircrafts are flying today, right? So the interventions from prototyping to functional products also has taken place, right? So and if you look at other segments, say such as implants, right, for various different kinds of orthopedic surgeries. So titanium implants are being 3D printed today because 3D printing brings in a very strong aspect of being able to print complex parts and shapes, right? So what we call as each human being is different, right? Because that's how nature makes us,
yeah.
right? So in the language of engineering, it may be probably related to as parametric design. So through a conventional manufacturing process, it's very difficult to achieve
that level of accuracy,
that level of design profile, shapes, etc. So because of which there was a need, say, for 3D printing to emerge, and these are like sectors where 3D printing has seen immense success in the last few years, and slowly it's entering into the consumer technology space, consumer products. It's also entering into education. It's also entering into various different levels. So gifting also as an industry, and so on and so forth. So wherever high customization is required, 3D printing has already seen success, and it is becoming more evident that sustainable way of manufacturing is going to help make better and quality products. So I think I see a very strong future for 3D printing, and that's why Printalytix, our vision is also aligned to grow as the sector grows.
Interesting how you covered certain very, very strategic segments that we call per se in any manufacturing. When we dive deep into it, defense, aerospace, medical, all this is considered to be quite strategic segment that we are a part of. And when you look at the drone technology that's talked about so much lately, and there's such a buzz. All these segments and these words that keep going around, 3D printing, drone technology, medical, defense, they're all quite the buzzwords that you get to listen to. Say in every budget that goes out, there's a conversation around it, or per se there's company that's out there. So either they're into like some kind of a drone technology or into medical design. How do you see this technology that you are into being a part of, say, the emerging drone buzz that is going around?
So, 3D printing brings in the prototyping agility that is needed for these industries. So it helps you get the prototyping done at a faster pace. So when it comes to drone, the main factor or the key factor that every manufacturer of a drone looks at is the endurance limit, right? Endurance is one point where, although many factors plays a part in the endurance point of view, but one key factor is the weight reduction. So weight reduction as such helps you have a better endurance limit for drones. So with 3D printing, most of the conventionally almost close to impossible designs can be 3D printed, right? Be it in metals or plastic. So that one advantage helps you develop the structure of the drones at a faster rate with a lesser weight, and with better material selection, we'll be able to have a lesser weight and same strength and rigidity that any conventional manufacturing would have given. So with respect to drones, I see lot more scope in that direction, where with optimized design structures, we'll be able to manufacture it at a faster rate with 3D printing. That is one thing. And with respect, when you mention about the healthcare sector, as Kiran was mentioning, that development of live tissues, right? So that has seen a lot of traction these days, where live cells are being fed with a nutrient media inside a 3D printed structure, where these live cells starts developing on their own, and that is what is the future for any transplant. So I would say that definitely there is a lot of scope, and the research is being done in these lines, where we can adopt this technology to be it in food science also. So there is a lot of scope in 3D printing of it.
Just digressing from the topics that we've been talking about, because it just interested me when you said that 3D printing is a part of other domains as well. How is it useful in the education sector? Like you just spoke about it being used in the entire system. So how is it being used currently in our system per se?
So I have a friend who works in this women and child welfare department. Right there, they have started promoting local Atal innovation machines to have conduct workshops. Right. So they basically they are helping these students develop their own small toys to play around, and also the Lego blocks which we have been playing around for some time.
Yeah.
So these things actually are picking up pace in that rural segment where this new technology where they would have seen just in the screen and they can get that part within a matter of hours. Right. That is a bit of fancy thing that is going around in rural segment.
Oh, that's very interesting.
Right.
You don't
and also some educational toys wherein like the numbers, placing the numbers and puzzle. So these things are also slowly picking up in 3D printing.
Just barking on the same subject of education, where you were talking about either one of you can go ahead and answer this. You were talking about there is a gap in the sense that as designers, when we enter, there is some sense that you learn a lot of things on the job. How important is it for us in the education system that is currently existing that there has to be that gap that has to be bridged? And what is it that you want to, what is that gap that as entrepreneurs, as people who are in the business of manufacturing and as integrators, what is it that that has to be done?
Sure, yeah. So I mean, adding to what Abhishek was just mentioning, right? These initiatives which are taking place in different segments, rural, tier 3, remote places, etc. These are very crucial and important aspects because STEM education has perhaps been promoted largely through private and international schools. Again, concentrated to tier 1, right? But because of lack of infrastructure or lack of well-educated faculties in the domain of STEM, right? So rural students, right? Those communities miss things out, right? But through these initiatives, government initiatives which are happening, so they are pushing forward, say, for those students also get more of do-it-yourself hand skills, right? Beyond textbooks, what you need are life skills and for you to be able to solve, say, for your own basic problems, right? So and not become again just a consumer or a customer, to buy something made by someone else, right? So how can you bring about more basic education that you also can make products by yourself, right? So 3D printing, small basic tabletop machines, which are used in the schools, right? Can help students learn things much better. The moment they've done a product, they've done those toys as Abhishek was referring to, etc., etc. So little higher up through the education, right? Once someone reaches a high school or early college and things like that. So you can start looking at more matured products, right? Try to get your skills become more multidisciplinary, right? Today's world will demand from youngsters a career where they need to have multidisciplinary skills, right? And it cannot be that I have probably accumulated just a few skill sets and then say I'm on lookout, say, for a job, and then it becomes like years to just even get a job, right? So that's a challenge that which is which is there, and henceforth if you have skills where you can also do a little bit of design, you've understood products, you've understood 3D printing, right? You can make some basic products, and things like that. That puts you at a better level of understanding of things, better opportunities also as a matter of career. And for risk takers, it's even more better. And if should their interests align towards manufacturing, right? So their education, say, from from those who are having 3D printing exposure from rural background today. So they and those who if they get interested to get into becoming industrialists tomorrow, so they will start factories. They will start making products more in India. So we need that kind of a change to happen in the country where we start making and consuming many more products made in India, say, for Indians, right? So that's a change which it can bring in, and henceforth it's playing a very key and crucial role in terms of today's educational system. Of course, I do not want to comment on what gets taught in schools otherwise, but this getting there is a very important aspect.
Yeah. Further to add to that point, like we used to have human anatomical models made of plastics in school, right? But now we have certain doctors who have shown interest, who are okay to give this CT scan data, basically to help them develop the 3D model and then print the same, so that before they are going for any surgery, they can do the procedure before they go for surgery, so such that the surgical time will be reduced. So education sector, like this is one thing that medical students also are showing interest on.
Oh, this is quite interesting. The entire segment per se is like an enabler to a lot of other segments that is there.
Yeah.
Before we wrap up this entire session for today, I just wanted to know each one of your perception or thoughts for youngsters out there who are planning to start their own startups or anything in any field per se or this field. What is it that is needed, and how can they get into, say, having their own entrepreneurial journey?
Right. So what I would propose is, like, when you want to start off your journey as an entrepreneur, first thing that one would expect is like to be focused. If you are not focused, like, of course, when you want to start a new job, something would have excited you, because of which you would have thought of starting a new thing. But at that point in time, the people who are doing other things may also make you excited, which will hamper your focus. So it is always better to play to our strengths. What is necessary, the learning curve that is necessary, we'll have to focus on that, and that would help us to reach our goals. And in the same time, we should also be attentive enough to look for the results or the outcome, based on which it will be a signboard for us whether we are going on the right direction. So I would suggest propose same things to the youngsters who are also planning to take up their entrepreneurial journey.
Adding to what he said, there is tremendous opportunity in India. As a country, we become more and more modernized and developed. I don't want to take the GDP numbers, etc. That's for the people in politics. Okay. But opportunity-wise, of course, at a grassroots level, right? We see lot many more businesses coming out of tier 2 rural segment also, and not necessary that you have to be based out of Bangalore, Mumbai, Delhi, things like that. So people say from anywhere can start a business. You need to know what your destination is, and have a very strong passion towards trying to take the opportunity, right? Of course, each company or each founder of a startup can't take similar amount of risks from where they begin, but constantly at each stage, you need to take a little bit higher risk at times, and stay relevant and passionate enough, and the change which is coming in the country, right? And which we foresee at least in the next decade or so, is certainly going to shape up your life, right? Okay. So that's something which I would like to tell the youngsters who are thinking to start. But before they start, better know that you're trying to solve for a very relevant problem, right? Yes. So don't try to copy ideas, don't try to imitate stuff, right? Don't try to start something just because you've seen success of someone else, right? Ideas are very, very interesting. Ideas are easy. Execution is hard, right? Yes. And henceforth, have problems that which you're passionate enough to solve for, right? And then try to have a right start, and the opportunities are there enough to kind of take them forward. So
thank you, Abhishek, and thank you, Kiran. It was such an amazing session. I think I learned so much today. And it's a good way forward for us to, see such a change that is happening in our entire manufacturing segment and what is happening in terms of everything that goes on before manufacturing and all that happens post which. It was lovely talking to both of you, and thank you so much for making it today.
Yeah. Thank you for the opportunity, and I thank you for allowing us to share our thoughts and this.
It was lovely talking to you.
Yeah, same here. Thanks for the invitation. It was a great time.
Thank
you so much.
Thank you so much for joining us on another episode of VinTalks. We hope this ignites your entrepreneurial journey. Stay tuned for more such inspiring episodes.